There is a feeling you have carried for a very long time. It is not sadness, exactly. It is more like distance. A gap between you and the world around you that never quite closes. You have been in rooms full of people and still felt completely alone. You have been in relationships, friendships, families, and still felt like a visitor. Like everyone else received a manual you never got. Like everyone else knows something you don't about how to simply be here. If that is how you have felt, stay with me. Because what I am about to tell you is going to change everything about how you see that feeling. Section 2. You're not the only one, 1 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Voice. Warm, reassuring. Soft ambient music begins very quietly. Image. Slow pan across a city at night from above. Millions of lights. Each one a life. Vast and intimate at the same time. The first thing I want you to know is this: you are not alone in this feeling. Not in the way people say that to comfort you, in the literal, documented sense. There are millions of people around the world who have described exactly what you feel. The same distance, the same gap, the same quiet sense of not quite arriving. And for a very long time, most of them believed something was wrong with them. That they were too sensitive, too different, too much, or somehow not enough. They spent years trying to fix themselves into belonging. Changing how they spoke, what they wore, what they believed, who they loved. Performing versions of themselves that felt hollow but at least fit the room. And it never worked, because you cannot perform your way into a resonance that does not exist. The fitting in never felt real because it was not real. And something in you always knew it. Section 3. Why this started in childhood, 8 o'clock to 1600. Voice. Slower, more tender here. This section touches old wounds. Image. A child sitting alone at the edge of a playground, watching others play, quiet, observant, not sad, just separate. For most people who carry this feeling, it did not begin in adulthood. It began very early, sometimes as early as they can remember. You may have been the child who felt things more deeply than the children around you. The one who asked questions that made adults uncomfortable. The one who preferred one deep conversation over 10 shallow ones. The one who felt the emotional undercurrents in a room before anyone spoke. Who sensed when something was wrong even when everyone said everything was fine. Who felt the weight of the world in ways that other children seemed not to notice. This is not dysfunction. This is perception. You came into this world with a different kind of antenna. One that receives signals most people are not tuned to. And because no one around you shared that frequency, you concluded that you were the problem. You were not the problem. You were the receiver. And the signal you were picking up was real, even if no one else could hear it. Section 4. The energy behind not belonging, 1600 to 2400. Voice. Grounded. Clear. This is the explanatory core. Music can be slightly more present here. Image. Two tuning forks side by side. One vibrating, sending ripples through the air. The other still, unaffected. Here is what is actually happening when you feel like you do not belong. You are operating at a frequency that is different from the environment around you. Not better, not worse, different. Just as a radio antenna tuned to one frequency cannot receive the broadcast of another, your system cannot fully connect with environments that vibrate at a fundamentally different rate. This is not metaphor. It is the language of energy, and energy is what we are. Every human being emits an electromagnetic field. Every environment has a collective frequency. When your frequency matches the environment, belonging happens naturally. When it does not match, you feel it as distance, as friction, as that quiet sense of not quite fitting. The groups, the families, the social structures you have struggled to belong to, they were not the wrong people. They were simply not your frequency. And no amount of effort, adjustment, or self-modification was ever going to change that. Because frequency is not a personality trait you can change. It is what you are. Section 5. What being an old soul actually means. 2434-00. Voice. Warm and thoughtful. This section gives the listener an identity that honors their experience. Image. Ancient tree standing alone in a vast landscape. Its roots visible, deep, extending far, timeless. There is a concept that appears across nearly every spiritual tradition in human history. It goes by different names in different cultures, but the core idea is the same. Some souls have been in the game longer than others. They have accumulated more experience, more wisdom, more sensitivity across their journey. And when they incarnate into a new life, they carry that accumulated depth with them. It shows up as an unusual maturity in children who seem older than their years. As a deep need for meaning that cannot be satisfied by surface-level living. As a sensitivity to suffering, beauty, and truth that most people around them do not share. As a persistent feeling that this world, as it is currently constructed, is not quite the world they came from. If you have always felt like a visitor here, like you arrived from somewhere more real, more honest, more aligned with what actually matters, that feeling is not delusion. It is memory. The soul remembering a frequency it once inhabited fully. And the restlessness you feel in this world is not pathology. It is longing, the longing of something ancient trying to find its way home. You did not fail to belong. You belong to something older, something deeper. Something that most of the people around you have not yet remembered. Section 6. THE 6 Signs 34-004600. Voice. Each sign gets its own emotional space. Take your time. Image. 6 stars appearing one by one in a dark sky. Each one steady and certain. How do you know if what you are experiencing is spiritual not belonging rather than ordinary social difficulty? There are 6 signs that appear consistently. Sign 1. You have felt this way since childhood, long before life gave you reasons to. Ordinary loneliness has causes: loss, rejection, transition. Spiritual not belonging predates all of that. It was there before anything happened to you. Before the heartbreaks, before the failures, before the disappointments. It was simply there, quiet and persistent, from the very beginning. Sign 2. You feel most like yourself when you are alone. Not because you are antisocial, but because solitude is the only place where you do not have to translate yourself. Where you do not have to perform a version of you that fits the room. Where the real frequency can simply be what it is, without apology. Sign 3. You connect deeply with a very small number of people, and struggle with everyone else. When you find someone who operates at your frequency, the connection is immediate and profound. You recognize each other in a way that does not require time or explanation. But these connections are rare, and everything else feels like translation. Sign 4. Surface level living feels physically painful. Small talk is not just boring to you. It is exhausting in a way that is hard to describe. Environments built around performance, status, or appearances drain you completely. Your nervous system is built for depth. And depth, in most social contexts, is in short supply. Sign 5. You have always been drawn to what is real over what is comfortable. You would rather have a difficult, honest conversation than an easy, comfortable lie. You are drawn to art, music, writing, or ideas that tell the truth even when it hurts. You have little patience for pretense. Not because you are judgmental, but because something in you cannot unsee what is authentic. Sign 6. You have a persistent sense that your real life, your real people, your real home, are still coming. Not as wishful thinking, as a quiet knowing. A certainty, somewhere beneath logic, that what you have experienced so far is not the whole story. That there is a version of your life where the distance finally closes. Where you walk into a room and feel, for the first time, that you have arrived. Section 7. The belonging you have been looking for, 46 005400. Voice. This is the turning point. More hopeful. The listener needs direction here. Image. Two people sitting together in comfortable silence by a fire at night. No performance, just presence. Here is what I want to offer you, and I want you to hear it carefully. The belonging you have been looking for your entire life is real. It exists. But it has never been in the places you were told to look for it. It was not in the group that never quite accepted you. It was not in the relationship that asked you to be smaller than you are. It was not in the career, the city, the community that promised a sense of home and delivered a sense of performance. The belonging you are looking for begins with one place, one person, one frequency. Yours. The deepest belonging any human being can experience is the belonging to their own soul. The moment when you stop translating yourself for everyone else and simply become what you are. Unapologetically, completely, without editing. That is the homecoming, and everything else, every true connection, every real community, every person who finally sees you, flows from that. You cannot find your frequency in the world until you find it in yourself. But once you do, the world reorganizes around it in ways that will astonish you. Section 8. Your people are coming. 54005800. Voice. Warmer and more intimate. Almost conspiratorial, like sharing a secret. Image. A single light moving through darkness, like a ship on the ocean finding its way to harbor. I want to tell you something about the people who are coming into your life. They are not the people who need you to be less. They are the people who have been looking for exactly what you are. The depth you have always had to hide, they are starving for it. The sensitivity you have always been told was too much, they experience it as a gift. The frequency you carry, the one that has never quite fit the rooms you have been in. It is exactly the frequency they have been trying to find. They are on their way. Some of them are already close. But they can only find you when you stop hiding what you are. When you stop translating yourself into something smaller so the wrong people will feel comfortable. The moment you decide to simply be the full frequency of what you are, the right people will begin to appear. not all at once, but with a consistency and a depth that will make the long years of not belonging feel, in retrospect, like necessary preparation.